Yo, what is up, guys? It is Sean here today, and we are starting a new what if today. And this what if is what if Goten was born in the future? So, essentially, we're going to be starting from the history of Trunks timeline, and this time we're going to be seeing what it would be like if, Trunks and Gohan had a little bit of an additional help with Gohan's brother in Goten, and see how that affects the timeline and the story as a whole. So the way to keep all this timeline is everything up until Goten's birth is pretty much the same. In which Goku dies from the heart virus, except this time, obviously he has impregnated Chi-Chi with Goten. Uh, the Z fighters still all die at the hands of the androids, and Gohan is the only one left to fight the androids. Gohan also becomes a Super Saiyan. So first and foremost, I think Gohan in this timeline will pretty much override any of Chi-Chi's decisions to try to raise Goten normally. Because Gohan in this timeline is a very pragmatic guy, and you can clearly see that as long as the androids are still a threat, though any chance of normal life is pretty much ridiculous. So I think from the next 13 years, he pretty much decides to train Goten to follow in his footsteps in order to defeat the androids. And I think this would be fruitful for both of them. I think Goten will be even stronger than Trunks was initially in the movie, assuming that they don't meet up. And Gohan would be also stronger just from having somebody to train with for 13 years, which was something that he did not have in the original timeline. I would say, given that Trunks already pretty much knew Gohan before, obviously he and Goten would also know each other as well, and they'd probably still be friends, similar to how they were. Except this time, since future Trunks is a lot more humble than present Trunks, I would assume that Goten and Trunks' friendship would be a lot more balanced in this timeline. But essentially, if Goten isn't spending his time eating or sleeping, he's probably spending it training with Gohan or just being around Trunks. Unfortunately for the Goten and Trunks, Gohan would still meet his end at the hands of the androids. And this is due to the fact that even though I do have Gohan as stronger than he was originally in the original timeline, another thing you have to keep in mind, especially in the manga, is that neither one of the androids ever used over 50% of their power when fighting Gohan. So I don't think Goten is strong enough to offset that. So I think he would still fall at the hands of the androids. However, I think this time his battle would be portrayed more so as it was in the anime, where it seemed like Gohan was at least on even footing with the androids, and it could possibly have taken on the androids individually if they had all fought 1-on-1 instead of 2-on-2. However, unfortunately, due to the fact that there are two androids, they would just be too overwhelming for Gohan. Even with two hands, I still think that the androids eventually would be able to gang up on him with enough numbers and enough time. And then I also think that the battle would last a lot longer. However, it really doesn't matter because the androids obviously have infinite stamina. So eventually, whether it's due to the numbers game or just due to them wearing Gohan down, he would meet his untimely end at the hands of the androids. But like I said, after Gohan's untimely death, both Goten and Trunks would become Super Saiyans. They would spend the next 3 years training and bonding because I know I haven't really delved deep into a little bit of their character arcs yet. Not only can they bond over the death of their beloved mentor and brother in Gohan, there's also the little conflict of the fact that neither Saiyans ever got to meet their fathers because they both died they both died before they were born. Whether it be because of the androids or because of the heart virus. Another thing to keep in mind is both Goten and Trunks in this timeline are a lot more mature than their present timeline. And I'd even say they're a little bit more mature than future Trunks was initially, when he would just head out to try to fight the androids whenever he can, regardless of how strong he actually was. As I said before, they would spend the next 3 years training as Super Saiyan as well, and I think that they would make massive gains in their power because of this. because there's only so much strength Trunks could gain on his own training for 3 years. So you already know that having Goten there as a training partner does immeasurable amount of strength for any Saiyan or anybody in general. While the boys are training and gaining strength, Future Bulma would also be still trying to complete the time machine. However, this time with Goten's presence there, it would take a little bit longer because she would probably make a time machine that was big enough to include 2 people instead of 1, because now she has to accommodate for Goten as well. The boys would probably help her gather supplies as they did originally, and she would be really insistent that they go in the time machine as soon as it was finished. However, I think even though they're still more mature, I think they're still a little bit stubborn, because you have to remember they're still teenagers. They'd still be a little bit stubborn to thinking that maybe with their newfound strength and training that might actually be enough to defeat the androids. And the next time they hear of a town that they're attacking, the 2 men would go to confront the 2 androids. So when Goten and Trunks go confront the androids, it does not end well for them. The androids would still beat them in the city. And that's because even though I said that Goten and Trunks had gotten a lot more powerful than Future Trunks was originally, you have to keep something in mind. In the history of Trunks Special, it was implied that Future Trunks wasn't even as strong as Future Gohan. A Gohan that, mind you, that couldn't even handle the androids at half of their full power. So I don't think training Future Goten would have Trunks and Goten be strong enough to contend with the androids fully as they were in that time in the timeline. The battle would go similar to, say, Goku and Trunks versus Goku Black in Zamasu, in the sense that it would basically be kind of like a tag team with each Saiyan taking on one of the androids. Whoever android they decide to take on, it's kind of irrelevant in the situation, because either way, I don't see them winning their individual matchups. However, they're still significantly stronger than the Trunks that fought the androids initially. Due to that, I don't think either Goten or Trunks would succumb to the androids fully and perish in the battle. However, I still don't think that they would win, and I do think that they would be able to survive after the androids were done beating them, and the android would pretty much just leave, because to them because the androids don't really care about either Saiyan anyway, and if the Saiyans come back, that's just more players for their twisted little game of cat and mouse. After taking an L to the androids, Goten and Trunks finally relent that they do need to go back to the past. And Bulma decides that it would be best if only one of them went back to the past, just in case anything happened near her house. One of them could help her and protect her if the android somehow attacked Capital Corp. Most likely it would be Trunks that would be the one to go back to the past, just because he has a better grasp of how the actual time machine works. Now Goten wouldn't be too happy about this, because like I said, he does want to have a chance to see and meet his father, but he understands the situation, he understands why it's necessary for him to stay, so he would not grumble about it too much. Another thing to keep in mind is when I say one of them goes back, that's only referring to the initial trip to the past in order to deal with Mecha Frieza and deliver the message. Because another thing to keep in mind, as I repeated earlier, is that the time machine is big enough for 2 people instead of just 1, and that's going to be important. When Trunks does get back to the past, pretty much the same that happened in the original anime/manga would happen here. He would kill Frieza, and he would tell Goku about the androids, and then he would be back on his way. When he returns, Goten will want to hear about what his dad was like, and Trunks would start giving Goku praise for how strong he was, and this will only make Goten more excited to meet his dad himself. This is going to be the end of the first part of this What If. Now that we've established pretty much the backstory of the future timeline, part 2 will be us addressing how Goten's presence is going to affect the rest of the Android arc in the present timeline. If you have any other what ifs you want me to do, just comment down below. I'll see what I can do. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. and comment anything about your opinions. And always remember to have yourself a nice day.